Pep Talk UK, Pro Bs once again. Remember, subscribe. I'm delighted to be joined by Sky Sports pundit, Mr. Johnny Nelson. How are you?
I am mash up. I'm tired. I was I've just got in. I've not unpacked yet. I've just realised. I'm thinking, why did I take so many clothes? Yeah. It was. I'm all right. Thank you. I'm all right. Good night.
Yeah.
Good finish.
Are you still riding away from last night because we had fans back at the boxing?
You know what? I didn't actually realise how much we missed it. Well, I missed the fans. When they all start singing, the atmosphere, you're seeing people just around milling, getting excited. It was only 1,000. And I thought, wow, makes so much of a difference. And good on him. I think Anthony Joshua himself, he was going to do that, without anybody there. He was there when Usyk boxed Chisora and it was empty. And that's when he said, I've got to do this. So he was lucky to get that night. But it was all right. It was a nice night, organised, safe, as safe as it could be. And it was a good atmosphere.
All right. I was saying to someone else, I think just a few weeks back, that Joshua had been looking sharp. The past times that I saw him at Finchley ABC, twice, he looked sharp. And what I saw him do last night was exactly what I saw in the gym. So,
yeah. But
great display.
I think his job was to produce what he was doing in the gym, in the ring. They've got to implement certain things they're working on. There's no point doing it in the ring and then you doing them in the gym, then you get to the ring, it's done. And I think this is a dress rehearsal for bigger things. And he wasn't looking past Pulev. So it was even though it was an exercise of what he can do, what he should do, what he can get away with. He didn't look past Pulev. I believe that what I saw him now working more on the boxing side and using his movement, hand-foot-eye coordination. It wasn't smooth, but it was better. You could see what he was doing. It'll take time to make sure you fit those shoes. But I think the results say, got the job done. Put Pulev down in the third round with some wicked shots. Pulev's tough, man. Gassed out a little. What happens with the fighters, it's not like his fitness was in question. What happens with fighters when you're fighting, midway through a fight, your energy levels drop, and you want that so you can get to your second wind. And so when AJ put the pressure on the third, he'd hit his midway point for his energy levels to drop. But when you get your second wind, boom, you can go all night. And so once he did that, that's why round 5, he was just still trying to get his second wind. And then when he got it, 6 onwards, ran through. And before the fight, that's what I said. People said, what do you think? I said between 10 and 8 and 10, because that was literally between 8 and 10, because it was a pace of fight. I knew Pulev would try and pressure AJ to work. It would be a bit of fact fan in the first round, drag him into a tear up. Pulev was on the receiving end, the bend end of the tear up, and then for AJ, his youth would have prevailed, which he did do, with his speed. That makes it so much of a difference. I know this because I think I was boxing till like 30, 38. And I know that I could do everything, but I knew my energy levels. I couldn't step it up a level when I got to the back end of a fight, but I could maintain it. And that's where AJ came into his own.
It's interesting because, a lot of people have been calling for AJ to improve on certain things in his artillery. More head movement, better movement around the ring. For me, he done that last night, but some people just simply are not happy. They're saying that he should have just finished Pulev earlier. No, this is where...
You know what? The problem is, as sport, people can be very fickle. So, and once you start listening to the fans when it comes to tactics, when it comes to what you should and shouldn't do in a fight, you might as well check in. Because the reason why you're doing it and they're not is because you can and they can't. So everybody has an opinion. and what he should do, what he shouldn't do. Everybody all of a sudden is Angelo Dundee, telling you how good you are or how bad you are. I think that was a shock for AJ when he lost to Ruiz the first time. I think mentally that affected him more than anything else, and it's made him. And he said it's made him thick-skinned. Thick-skinned. I know exactly what it means by that. And so what he's done is he's got himself to a point where he actually don't care what you say. What he cares about is what his trainer says. What they have to do, pleasing himself and pleasing his trainer. Even his language kind of changed a little bit. His attitude in regards to dealing with situations. He likes to control. He now needs to control his own space, his own time, his own energy. He did that in the public workout. Took his time, put the bandages on when he'd done to everybody out. When pressed to ask about Tyson Fury all week, refused to have the conversation. He said, "Yo, look, I'm concentrating on Pulev. That's my job." Then even when it came to the afterwards, he wasn't pressured. He refused. He said, "If Tyson Fury's a man, make it be Tyson Fury." I think like Tyson Fury didn't want to go to Anthony Joshua's fight, and Anthony Joshua didn't want to go to Tyson Fury's fight. These two are not going to give each other props, are they? So for Anthony Joshua to make his post-fight conversation about Tyson Fury, he's giving a man props. So he kind of dismissed it in a fashion. That's what he's trying to do. Both fighters want to fight, but until it's signed, sealed, and delivered, then it's this talk. We'll build and build and build. I hope it happens, but it's show business, and as I said, in boxing, the business usually gets in the way of the show. So we'll see what happens.
Bob Arum, he is quoted as saying that he wasn't impressed by the performance.
Really?
Again.
Well, before that, Bob Arum said that Pulev would knock him out. Bob Arum said that AJ. He said, "Oh, you can say what you want. It's the old Don King line. I lied yesterday, but I'm not lying today." So Bob Arum before the fight, Pulev's going to win. Pulev's this, Pulev's that, and then when AJ beats Pulev, it was a poor performance. So what was Pulev bringing? So if AJ beat Pulev on a poor performance, what does that mean? What does that say about your own charge? The man that you said was going to beat AJ, the man that you said, you know what, AJ's going to get knocked out. So this is jiggery pokery. So it's how people play with the words. So it doesn't matter what Bob Arum said. You know, he's contradicting himself within the space of 24 hours. So but it's just his opinion.
They're talking about Eddie Hearn and Bob Arum starting to work on the fight from tomorrow. I mean, yep. Wow. I mean, that would be something if they could accelerate and get over the line quickly.
Yeah, of course, because it takes a lot of organisation. You can remember when Tyson boxed Lewis, the organisation of 2 different TV companies working together, maybe 3, maybe 4, showing it worldwide, putting the fight on, where it happens, how it happens, who it favours, who comes up for. All these little nitty-gritty things need to be discussed, and that's the job of your Bobs and your Eddies. The job for your AJ and Fury is to just get in there and fight. So it may take a week, it may take a month, it may take a year. These guys have to sit down at some point and say, right, we've got to do this thing here because we're in danger of it slipping through our fingers. And so I'm glad it is, because at the end of the day, who benefits? The fighters and the fans. The fighters get paid ridiculous money, which I love, because in our sport, I know too many boxers and too many wealthy promoters, and even though the boxers are putting their life on the line. So I love the fact that these boys will tax everybody and make mad money. For the fans will get what they want. And to me, that's win-win.
Would there be an idea that potentially maybe Sky do the first fight and then BT do the rematch? Is that kind of a feasible idea about it? Maybe
so. Or I don't know how to do it. I just don't know how to do it. I'm not a businessman, so I'll not even try and guess and try and put a wish list together. But as long as it's done, that's most important. And listen, let's not kid ourselves. Over here, especially in the UK, the best team that put on a fight, that put on a show, that put on a pay-per-view is Sky. That's no joke. It's not like, oh, I work for them, but people at BT will tell you that. People at ITV will tell you that. You know, Sky, they put it together, and they've been in this business 30 years. So they must have learned something in that 30 years. So, and the amount of promoters that would be happy to have it on their platform because they package it and sell it right. They put the promotion in it. It's just a slick setup. So obviously Sky would be the favoured broadcaster, but again, it's conversation.
What did you make of Tyson Fury's video right after the fight? I think we knew that was coming.
yeah, you probably made that before the fight. No, it didn't. Good on him. What do you expect? What else could he say? You know what I mean? I'd have probably said the same thing. So and that's it. Yeah, I'd have probably said the same thing. But the devil's in the detail. Listen to what he said. If you want him to say, yes, I will fight Tyson Fury next, he didn't say that. He said, if Tyson Fury, I want the belts. And if Tyson Fury's got the belt, so be it. It's Tyson Fury. Listen to it. Just because he didn't say the words everybody wanted, listen to what he said. And he dealt with that. But he didn't want to give props to Tyson Fury
on his
after the fight. Just as, at his time. Just as Tyson Fury didn't want to give props to Anthony Joshua by turning up ringside. This is professional, it's business.
There seems to be a few things that need to be kind of sorted out first before even having them discussions. So you got Wilder, who sat back and waited to see what the outcome was of this fight against Pulev. And then you've got Usyk, who's saying, look, I want the fight. I'm not stepping back. I want the fight straight away. So two situations need to be sorted out.
Yeah, of course. And that's what I'm saying. We can all get giddy and silly about this. And of course, these things have to be dealt with. But it's not very often you get fighters that are bigger than the belts. And right now we're in an era where we have two fighters that are bigger than the belts. And if the governing bodies decide they want to strip Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury from fighting each other, more fool them, because they'd be better off being part of the party than they're not being part of the party. And because everybody, it then discredits their champion. You know, their champion will not be viewed as the best fighter in the world. It's happened before in the past, and it'll happen again. So with these guys, I think it's nice to see two fighters in a strong position where they could actually do that if they wanted to. Because, you know, that's what it means.
I know before you got a bit of criticism from Fury for backing AJ. I mean, from what you saw of last night, does that kind of reaffirm what your opinion was, that AJ would, in fact, beat Tyson Fury?
I do. And AJ, let me tell you, AJ adapted his style, and they're working on stuff. They're working on the sweet science of boxing now. And he's trying to perfect it to box and bash. We saw him when he boxed Ruiz. It was more defensive than offensive. So he's working on defense and offense equally now. We saw that last night. And this isn't polished. So what they're doing in the gym, he's got to be able to. It's a transferable skill. He's got to put it into the ring when it comes to a fight. So he'll look back on that and say, "That's what we worked on. That's what we did do, and that's what we didn't do. Why didn't that happen?" And so it's a building blocks. And I keep saying to everybody that what Anthony Joshua does between now, since that fight and all last year, and to when or if that day comes with fighting Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder. This is the dress. That was the dress rehearsal. Everything he does will be a dress rehearsal, and it's building blocks. So he needs to get the science off, and you know what? He adapted to the point where he boxed, he bashed, and he knocked Pulev out. It was tough, and it wasn't smooth. It wasn't fluent, but you can see it's going to get there. His words on what are they? I'm not perfect, but I'm trying. You know, that's what he's doing, and I think it will get better and better. Could he use a jab more? He'll see that and understand what I'm saying. Then that way, if he'd have done that, he'd be able to drop the right hand in a bit more. He was wary. He was well aware of the big sweeping left hooks, big right hands that were coming his way. He was prepared for everything. So he did a good job.
I thought, to be honest, you talk about a dress rehearsal for the Fury fight. Okay, we saw him on the outside, you know.
Yeah.
Poking that jab out. I saw some double jabs. I saw some treble jabs. I saw a hell of a lot of uppercuts on the inside. So,
oh man,
you need variety when you fight Tyson.
They were powerful uppercuts, man. My man's got a brick head. That head was tough. He took some, excuse my French, rat slick. You know what I mean? And still came back and really gave it his all because he thought it was his destiny. And when you're fighting a man that believes it's his destiny, that's like we're fighting Genghis Khan, man. He's gonna keep coming and coming.
Is there an argument that to fight Tyson Fury, he's gonna have to fight completely different from last night? Completely?
No, not completely different. No, I think he needs to polish last night, and there's still things to work on. But I wouldn't box completely different. There is something on that blueprint that he needs to fight Tyson Fury.
And just to kind of conclude, if these two do get on, these two big superstars, I mean, how is Johnny Nelson kind of envisioning the outcome?
I don't see the fight going the distance. I see it being drama. I see it being high tension. Again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I say Anthony Joshua in about 10, same again. Between 8 and 10 rounds. I can see points being taken off, near disqualifications. I can see it being rough.
All right. Okay. Johnny, got to thank you for your time, man. It's been a pleasure, man. Enjoy that Sunday roast, man.
That's it. I'm waiting for it. I think it looks like an egg. All right, then.
Thanks, Johnny. Thanks for your time, mate. Cheers.